Hello and welcome back. If you haven't viewed previous videos in this series and you are new to InfoPath, I recommend you view the previous videos in the series. This presentation has two learning objectives: spelling and testing your template. You've probably spent considerable time developing your form. The very last thing you want for your audience is to wonder about your competency. I'm sure you are only too aware poor spelling immediately raises eyebrows. If you use Microsoft Office, you won't be surprised by what I'm about to demonstrate. The dictionary is the same one we use for Word and other Office programmers. I should mention, InfoPath doesn't use grammar check. Proofreading for grammar errors has to be manually undertaken. I suggest you ask others to check. The reason we don't see the errors because we see what we want to read. If I look up to the ribbon, in the Home tab, Editing section, I see Spelling. I click the little down head arrow to view my options. Alternatively, I just click the spelling icon to avoid the drop-down list. Immediately, my first typo has been identified and a number of options are provided for me to rectify the error. How does the dictionary know what to look for? In this case, I have typed the word date with 2 capitals. If I click the option button, I can see the option rules applied to draw my attention to possible errors. The options are self-explanatory. The key takeaway here is if I make changes under the first grayed out section and I switch to Word, Excel, the alterations I made here will apply to those programs or any other Office program. If I make changes in the second grayed out section, then the modification only applies to InfoPath. Clicking OK returns me to the dictionary window. I can click Change to accept the spelling. Alternatively, the spelling might be correct, for example, a brand name. To avoid the brand name being picked up again as incorrect, I can click Add to Dictionary. Spell Checker doesn't check field name spelling. It shouldn't because I'm using abbreviations. Placeholder spelling isn't checked. The form I'm developing, I haven't added placeholder text. The reason? Browser forms won't show the text. However, for learning purposes, I've added one. If you take a look, I have the text type your first name here, admittedly with spelling error. If I place my mouse cursor over the blue circle with the letter I see a message warning me placeholder text won't be shown in a browser. I click the first name field to make this active and then right click. I then select text box properties. Next, I click the display tab. Under options placeholder box, I can enter text. I can now amend my spelling. To minimize and simplify the process, I recommend you use Word to compose your text, then copy and paste. This may seem to be an unnecessary step, but it's far better you do than have numerous people call you to point out an obvious typo. Testing is the end game, and I'm going to state the obvious. Involve others who haven't participated in the initial development project is an essential part of any software development process. The principal reasons spelling errors are immediately apparent to them, as are functionality issues. For example, a control such as add an email address appears in some form views but not others, and they should appear in all. In later videos, I will show you how to build views for a particular audience. One obvious example of a form view would be one view for completing and submitting a form, another to view to print. I suggest you reward those who can break the form functionality. It's better to know now than have to rectify embarrassing oversights having released the form to your users. Ask them to test every single control. Can they type text into the text boxes, enter numbers, click check boxes, and select an item from a drop-down list? Check the alphabetical order of the list. Test repeating tables, choice and optional sections. Do they behave as expected? If users can add pictures, attach files, or click website addresses, can they do so? You may have added a button to your form, for example, a print view button does the button function as expected? Do rules work as intended? For example, an incorrectly formatted email. What happens when that email address is submitted? To help form testers, you can provide testers with a list of rules. Look up at the ribbon and select Data tab. Look for the Rules section and click Rule Inspector. This opens a printable list of rules and what each rule should achieve. The list emphasizes why clear descriptions are so important. Not just for development purposes. In the future, the form may be revised by others and they may need to understand the business logic. Once this stage of testing is complete and corrections made if necessary, the next stage is to ask those who know absolutely nothing about the form whatsoever. They should ideally be able to fill in the form without any instruction from others. We are looking to identify challenges our target audience may experience completing the form. Having completed this stage, and all being well, we can proceed to publish and distribute the form.